Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for joining. Thank you for liking, subscribing, for sharing, for commenting. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. And for those joining for the first time, I want to say a big thank you to you. I brought you a gift. This is for you. So, yay! Thank you so much for joining. Today, I'm going to be talking about something very important, and it's one of the questions that I'm frequently asked. That is, why should we read to children? Oh, jeez, I hear that question all the time, and I'm always wondering, why not? For goodness sakes, why not? What else will you be doing if you're not reading to your child? But the truth is, for so many reasons, so many factors, a lot of people don't know, and even though they know, they can't, they don't have the luxury of time to do these things. But the truth is, a lot of people actually have time and they don't know that they have time because they're not doing it correctly. So we're going to be treating that in other videos. But for this particular video, I'm only talking about why we need to read to children. Number one, you need to read to your child because it helps the development of your child's brain. Simple. Very simple. You want to raise an intelligent child. You want to raise an articulate child. You have to read to that articulate child and introduce that intelligent child to intelligent materials. It helps the functionality of their brains. It helps their thinking, their thought process. It helps the formation of their brains. Reading stimulates the brains of your children. It's like exercise. Helps their brain to keep fit because it is constantly doing the work that it's supposed to do. So reading is very important to your child. For people who have infants, you can read to your child, as in fact from pregnancy even until and also when you have your baby in your hands, you can begin to read to them. I tell people that the first contact that a child has to anything about life at all is from his immediate environment. That is where he forms his idea of life from. So if you want to raise a child that knows the importance of reading books, you start from infanthood. You don't have to wait till the child can speak or the child can read fluently. You start reading to the child for as little as they can be. All right. Good. A second reason why you have to read to your children is that it improves their language skills. Yes, tested and trusted. This particular one, because I have a chapter box as a 5-year-old, and she started talking from as early as 2, right? And she had been reading. I've been reading to her on our way to school or on our way to the creche. Yeah, I read to her. There's always a book in the car. Always a book in the car. So I read to her, and because I understood, the kinds of the age-appropriate books for children, I knew what would, help her per stage. I'm going to be treating that too in another video. All right. So. And from age 2, she started to use some words, and I knew that yes, this is because I introduced her to those words. So when we read to children from whatever age, there's a word bank in their head, in their brains, right? Excuse me. There's a word bank in their brains. So when you read to them, the words that drop into those word banks, they just go there and they sit in one corner. And somehow, without preparation, without the children even knowing it, they get to use these words in the right context. And even you as a parent, you begin to wonder, how is my 4-year-old using a word like conspicuous so correctly? And some adults can't even use such words, So this is part of the reasons why you have to read to them. Introduce them to books, let them hear you read to them, and let these words begin to drop in their word bank. They are saving it. Just the same way we save money in the bank. You're saving these words there for them to use it when they actually need it. All right. So firstly, you're reading to your child to help the development of your child's brain. Secondly, to help their language and communication skills. Yes, reading helps their language and communication skills as well as social skills. Because when you read to them, for instance, now you're reading a book about animals, right? As a parent, you have to make those sounds, those funny animal sounds, and all that. By the time they see an animal, my son referred to a cow as moo first before he said cow. He referred to that cow as moo before he said cow, because from reading to him, he was able to associate that sound with the image that he was seeing outside or in the book as well. So it helps their brains a lot. It's, in fact, I don't know, the importance of reading cannot be overemphasized, right? So helps that formation of their brains, helps their language skills, helps them to speak better and speak well. I'm not talking about speaking through their nose. I'm not talking about slurring their R's and their throwing and rolling their L's. I'm not talking about that. No, I'm not talking about speaking phonetics or with a fake accent. I'm talking about proper use and pronunciation of words. Very, very important. The third reason why you need to read to your child is it helps their creativity. You know, reading, like I'm sure you've have seen quotes about this or in different places, that reading takes you to places that you've never been. Reading is books are magical and all of that. It is true. It is very, so just yesterday, my daughter was telling me about the eclipse of the sun. I know that they have not been taught in school because of her class, but she explained it so beautifully to me, and I remember clearly that she has a book that talks about the eclipse of the sun, and then there's a cartoon she watched about the eclipse of the sun. So she was able to marry the two together and remember it, and the way she rendered it, I knew that yes, she understood it. She has never been to the moon, but her imagination was able to, she was able to create those images in her head from the things that she had read, and she was able to express them the exact way she had it in her head. That is what reading does to children. You can give a child a book about Paris, for instance, and when this child starts to talk to you about Paris, different places, different peculiarities to that particular place, trust me, somebody who has not met a child before would think this child, oh, this one, parents give birth to her in Paris. But no, she's just here in Osun State or in Ondo State or in Lagos State. But because she has been introduced to a lot of books, she's able to understand, she's able to express herself very, very well. So please, reading helps the creativity of your child. Do you also know that the likes of Chimamanda of Olesho Ika, they did not start reading when they started writing. They are great writers today because they read a lot as children. All right. So now the fourth reason why you should read to your children, and I think that right now for this generation is one of the most important reasons why you should read to children, is because it helps their attention span, helps them to concentrate, disciplines them. The struggle to get a cell phone out of a child's hands these days, oh my goodness, sometimes I wonder why. You take a cell phone out of a child's hand and the child is so aggressive, the child is agitated, the child is throwing things and throwing tantrums. Because these cell phones, I don't know why we do it as parents, but these cell phones, a child's attention span is this tiny, and then you give them a cell phone that just clamps the entire attention span and destroys it. It is destructive, even if you are using it for educational purposes, because that is where we are hiding now. But you say, no, I'm teaching him numbers, I'm teaching alphabets. You should have screen time. You should limit it 1 hour per day, 2 hours per day, or if it's per week, you want to do 2 times in the week screen time, and that is it, and be disciplined about it, so that your child can express himself or herself in other ways, such as reading. Reading helps them to express themselves. Reading, it helps them to be disciplined. So your child can sit down and read a 5 pages book without getting up. That is beautiful. Without getting tired. That is very beautiful. But you find out that some children can't stay put for 3 minutes because there's a part of them that just wants to be up and going about. Please, parents, this is me begging you, reduce the screen time of your child. You see those alphabets you want him to learn, he will learn it. The numbers you want her to know, she will know it at the right time. But because you want her to just leave me alone and I'm busy, you want her to just be on her own and sorry, you can do your own things. Sometimes it may be selfish. It may be selfish of you to do that because you are not helping that child. It is more detrimental to that child. So please replace tablets, replace TV with books and toys. Replace TV and tablets with books and toys. The last reason why you need to read to your children is that it helps them to be reading adults. It's a culture that grows with them. I don't think I've ever met somebody who says, "Oh, and I used to read as a child, but I don't read anymore." No. Something went wrong somewhere. A child that is raised as a reader will be an avid reader when he or she grows up, because it's a beautiful culture that flows naturally. And it's so beautiful that because you have access to the right books, you just want to keep going back. You never just it will be uncomfortable for you to sit down and then spend a whole week without reading a book. That is how uncomfortable it gets for some people. So if you want to raise a reading child, a child who can hold intelligent conversations, a child whose imagination is is bright, is sparkling, a child whose attention span and discipline is in check, and a child whose brain functions properly and speaks well, speaks beautifully, you have to read to that child. If you want to raise a child like that, you have to read to that child. So in my next video, I'm going to be sharing information on the age when to start to read. I mean, how early is too early, right? So in my next video, I'm going to be talking about how early is too early to read, when to start to read to your child, and also the age appropriate books to get for your children. And I might be mentioning a few bookshops where you can get these books as well. Thank you so much for staying. Thank you for listening. Please share this video, like it, leave your comments, and subscribe. Thank you so much. I'm doing this for you, so please help me to help you. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful week. God bless you.